Assalamu alaikum, Naham Jambo. My friends, how I wish I could be with you today in one of my favorite places and with some of my favorite people. I suppose the magic of technology will have to do for the moment. Asanteni sana, thank you for this opportunity to share a few thoughts on my dear friend, the late Maalim Seth, and why he still matters. Friends, we're living in a time when some observers are openly questioning the health and the future of democracy. I think back to the days when I first served in political office some 3 decades ago. They seemed like such hopeful times. Democracy was on the rise, and we all saw increasing opportunities for people to express their ideas and to chase their dreams. Now, many fear those opportunities may be quickly slipping away. Some of our unease arises from the nature of our most pressing challenges. The most traditional forms of democracy seem ill-suited to the moment. We're still recovering from the consequences of a global pandemic, a terrible disease that not only damaged public health, but rocked our global economy in the form of lost growing seasons, lost tourism, and missed productivity. We're grappling with climate extremes and unpredictable weather, conflicts over arable land and limited natural resources. Vladimir Putin's brutal invasion of Ukraine seems to have some people willing to follow the old saying, might makes right. In practical terms, the invasion has caused supply chain disruptions for key tools like fertilizer, which everyday African families need to make ends meet, and technology. These are all tests for democracy itself, because none of them can be solved through quick answers and short-term fixes. There is no one piece of legislation, no one executive action that will turn the tide of rising temperatures or break an ongoing drought. We require thoughtful debate, give and take, and the willingness to join hands when national interests and humankind's interests are at stake. These challenges also strain our democracy because there are too many leaders these days who confuse the pursuit of power with the pursuit of public service. They seem to believe that anything which is in their own personal or political interest must necessarily be in the people's best interests. They seem more concerned about their public image than their ideas, their re-election more than the capacity and opportunity to lift people's lives. You can see it in those who use social media not to educate and inform, but to tear their opponents down. Instead of taking conversations about honest differences to the arena on important issues, they convince people that it's good versus evil, lightness versus dark. And that brings us to today and today's gathering. My friends, some of what I've just said might lead you to believe that I am pessimistic, but nothing could be further from the truth. I am profoundly optimistic about the future, and I'm profoundly optimistic about our democratic future. I'm optimistic because I believe there are still leaders and potential leaders out there who are willing to follow the example of Maalim Seif. Just look at his life and the way he approached his public service. We're living in a time when there is much harshness, intolerance, and bitterness in the public arena. Well, he was a gentleman who would have had every right to be bitter, a prisoner of conscience, a man expelled by his party, and unfairly denied chances to lead. Yet in all the times that we spoke, I never once detected anger or hatred or vindictiveness. He was always humble but undeterred, modest but unbowed, and the good of the people never left his heart. As we all know, Maalim Seth was struck down by COVID-19, and even in his illness he found public service. While many leaders wanted to conceal the disease, he was among the earliest to speak the truth. He openly admitted when he had COVID so that others might take it more seriously and take steps to protect their families. And perhaps most importantly for these difficult times, we should salute that Maalim Seth was a champion for the essential principles of democracy itself, principles that so many are quick to set aside. He believed in the marketplace of ideas and the importance of debate. He knew that democracy doesn't require unanimity or consensus, but instead it burns brightest when there are constructed and spirited disagreements. In his eyes, the job of a public servant and democratic leader is to bring forth ideas and to offer alternatives. Push them as far as you can and as hard as you can, but without tearing down the system itself. He saw no shame in falling short on any one issue or any one cause, because he knew that democracy requires offering citizens clear choices and constructive alternatives. In other words, my friends, I may be thousands of miles away in a place that's a little bit different from where you sit, but all of us can celebrate the contributions of Maalim Seif. No, we must celebrate them, and we must rededicate ourselves to the democracy he believed in, because it's the democracy that we need. He gave his life to that cause, and we humbly give thanks for his example. So I am optimistic because the memory of Maalim Seif inspires me never to give up. We must find others like him, especially in our youth, because that's how the future gets brighter. So thank you for inviting me to join you, and thank you for honoring his memory.